Alright, that was Steins Gate, Season 1, Episode 2. I like the show.
I am very intrigued by this show.
There was a little more of, like, fun, I'd say, or maybe I was just in a better place to have fun and not think too much. And I love all the characters. Like, I love the thought put into each character's depth so that it, like, reflects on how they speak to each other. It's like they're all, like, in this, like, role play, like, friend group. Like, to like a nuanced degree in some conversations. And
it makes you wonder, is everyone speaking to him this way because they've known him for so long and he's always acted this way and that's just the way to be friends with him is just kind of to enjoy it?
Yeah. I don't know.
And why does he have a different name? You know, they're all his old friends who've known him from school and childhood call him Okarin, which is a nickname, I'm guessing, for Okabe or something. I think that was his name. Rintoru, something like that. And he goes by a different name now. No clue why. I guess this is his mad scientist name. Maybe it has to do with the fact that, like, Simona and a bunch of other people have been destroyed over being around him because the organization is after him, and so he changed his name in order to protect people.
An alias from the organization. Yeah, that could be it. Or he just wants to go by a different name, you know? I don't know. Do you like Ruka?
Yes.
Yeah, Ruka's great. I liked... You know what? Ruka made me appreciate Okarin more, almost. Like, I like, Ruka was cool from what little we got to see him, but Okarin's like, but he's a boy. But he's a boy. But he's a boy. I was like, interesting. I don't know.
There was also this, like, fun element of, like, oh, my hand is cursed. Just so Ruka could, like, you know, exercise it.
Yeah.
And there was, like, a sweet... I feel like all of these friends have this sweet, fun energy together.
Yeah.
Which is really, like, infectious and nice. And it's like, wow, I want to be friends with... Even if this guy is constantly saying these little passwords when he hangs up his fake phone calls with himself, I'd probably still want to be a part of this friend group.
Kungru?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's... I don't know. Do you think there's anything to it that's, like that he's, like, right with?
I think that it's definitely possible that some of the things that he thinks and invents in his head, or what people think are delusions, could actually be in fact real, and they could be affected by the fact that his memories are manipulated to some extent. It could be the idea that maybe things have been planted in his head and there's been overlap of memories before now, and he just didn't realize it. It was to a lesser extent. Maybe it was like little words or little ideas that popped into his head then.
Yeah.
That, you know, are actually from the future.
You know what I caught accidentally? So I was going back to episode 1 to see if we had any of the names like Suzuha or Moeka in any of, like, the texting.
Those ones where he was rattling off all the names?
Yeah. No. The characters we met. So the girl in the streets, Moeka, and Suzuha is the girl that he gave the corn.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was, like, a new character, a new person he was just meeting there.
So what do you think about the text from Mayori on the 27th that says, don't sell it?
Oh, stop! It's the...
Right?
It has to be the metal Upa.
Upa, right? That's kind of weird. A little bit, right?
Yeah. I mean, I did say during the first episode, what if there was a him that took it from her and was gonna sell it?
Yeah. I don't know. I thought that was a little interesting, but I just saw that. But we got a lot more of... I'm so sorry. I'm horrible with names. Kurisu. Kurisu. This episode. Did you like her?
I like her a lot. I like her energy, the fact that she was embarrassed by him and sketched out by him at first. Like, obviously, if a random man comes up and starts, or a random person in general, starts poking your cheek and then, like, pulling your jacket away from your, you know, you're gonna be like, do I need to call the cops? Like, what? And you're telling me I got stabbed, or am I a ghost? Like, I'm going to want to distance myself. But she has this confidence that I really, really like and I enjoyed for this whole sequence where she, obviously this assistant or some person that is maybe her assistant or the person who set up this lecture starts to walk forward like, oh, I will, you know, get the guy out of the room and, you know, protect you from having to answer questions to this crazy guy so you can go on with your lecture.
Yeah.
But she has this confidence to be like, no, I am going to hear what he has to say and I'm going to prove him wrong and basically embarrass him. And there's this confidence to her that I was really enjoying.
There was something that she said that I was trying to... the subtitles went by extremely quick, so I was trying to find it. But she mentioned that it was theoretically impossible according to string theory, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's her, I guess, belief or stance because of that's the world we live in, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, my mind would immediately go to, okay, well, is that not what we're going for in this world? Or have we found a loophole a Steins Gate? I don't know.
Was there originally a point in time where this string theory was true and then a point in time where it diverged and wasn't? And then in that timeline, time travel can exist.
So what do you think is the purpose of the secret words to him, right? Not saying that they're necessarily real or legitimate or there's ever going to be a payoff, but he asked, like, the person at the cafe, like, he almost expected them to say it back as confirmation that they were, like, not...
Bugged?
Not bugged or not, like, what do you call it? Like,
spy?
Compromised.
A traitor? Compromised.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was interesting. El Sai Kungru. I don't know. There's so many different, like, narrative points that this show is going.
I wonder when, in terms of, like, I don't know how many episodes this is. I don't know what the true plot is trying to tell, what story is actually being told. So I don't know at what point in the pacing I, as a viewer, am going to, like, wrap my head around what is actually the truth of the world.
Yeah.
And so at the moment, I'm still like, okay, we're getting, like, building blocks, if you will, of, like, things that I can use to understand, oh, world lines, oh, okay, something happens and you affect that, but that means, yes, you've affected this future, but you've started another one.
Yeah.
And so on and so forth for infinite options.
I still have an uneasy feeling about Maori for some reason or another. Like, there's something that gives me, like, she's broken the fourth wall a little bit, and I know that it's me just looking into it too much, but, like,
her energy lends to it.
Like, when she's just, like, walking and, like swinging around, bumps into him and is like, sorry, and then, like, following him, and then right afterwards, the restricted area for the, what do you call it, the radio building,
Mm-hmm.
and then she looks down at, like, a stopwatch, or, you know, or pocket watch, and I'm like, and obviously, like, he notices it, he as in Ocarine.
It could be that she, you know what would be, like, cool, since you're bringing that up? What if she actually, like you're possibly alluding to the fact that she might know more than she lets on with this personality that she has. And when she looks down at the watch, I mean, it is a bad angle to actually understand what the facial expression is, but it could be wistful, almost like, and her eyebrows seem slightly, you know, up and arched toward the center.
It looks like she's worried to me.
Worried, waiting, apprehensive. There's something about it that's more than just, oh, I have to go to work, which is what she says right after this. Like, oh, I have to go to work. So I think that that could be a cool possibility, that maybe she's waiting for an interaction or something to happen that she already has an idea about.
He's the one who brought up work, too. Like, obviously, the implication there is that she's probably a little sad.
And there's this weird, it's a long time.
Bro,
This passing of the bag is a very long, slow transition.
What's the frame in between it?
That's like the mountains? They're in the city. Why are we seeing mountains?
It's so quick.
Is this the type of thing where we're just supposed to watch this whole show by clicking from frame to frame? They're not in the city when the bag's passed over, you know?
Well, they're in the same place they are when they're talking right here, right?
Yeah.
They're at the...
Oh, is it at a bottom angle and that's why you're getting... Maybe that line is the top of the stairs?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But it's after that it's like
the
for...
mountains.
Yeah.
Boom.
It's like, okay, so my immediate impression is that, or my immediate, like, where I jump to is that fucking Maori and Ocarine are somehow both consistently traveling through time, but Ocarine has lost his mind or is losing his mind when Mayuri still has an idea of what's going on, which is why last episode she was like, why are we here? Like, what's going to happen?
Oh, so she kind of just might be...
And then privy to it, or like just a little more aware of what's going on.
Actually maybe directing him? Or...
Yeah. And then somehow, I'm assuming that the bananas and stuff are within this bag. So, like, there's some transfer of time or something that is putting this version of himself back on his current track, whereas Mayuri is being, is privy to this, but then is leaving this situation and, like, you know, almost being replaced with herself that's meant to be in this time. That fucking frame change is so, like, intense. Like, what is it?
Did you notice it the first watch through?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I noticed that I didn't know what it was. I still don't really, but I noticed that it was something. And it's like...
Is it the idea... We're getting this idea of, like, the world being destroyed and things like that. Is that supposed to be where they are?
In 2036?
In 2030, you know, when everything's destroyed?
Maybe. It's very odd, though, right? It definitely lends itself to the idea that she has, like, there's something going on with her, right?
I like that possibility.
Like
especially because she was with him during this first kind of, when we're first entered into the story and what I believe is the first real blips that he's experiencing.
You really didn't hear a scream, did you? A scream when? Today at the radio building. See, in this moment, it's almost like it's a different person.
Yeah.
You know?
And this one, she's not bringing up the metal Oopa.
No.
So maybe it's because she ate one of the gel bananas.
Maybe.
Maybe that's why she has...
Or it was her name on it.
Time travel powers.
Yeah.
Ooh, maybe there's something to do with actually, like, writing on the object.
I mean, that was the only difference, other than it being a single banana rather than the bunch. That was the only other difference in that experiment, right? Was that it had a name written on it?
Yeah. And they only put one in.
Yeah.
Instead of the bunch.
Weird. After that, we got to meet Suzuha, who... It's
the new worker, new employee.
I love her.
She loves CRT TVs.
Yes. Where did that come up?
Oh, right there. You're hired. And then he goes, is this a comedy routine?
Age 18. Reason for working here? I love CRT TVs. You're hired. Is this a comedy routine? Interesting. I wonder where she's from. Obviously, she is from elsewhere, or maybe she's a time traveler. If she's only used to canned corn and doesn't know what fresh corn's like, maybe the organization is real, and these people are trying to somehow, like, find the point of when time travel was invented, and that is when Ocarine is...
To what? Stop it?
In these days.
To stop it, to have control of it, to be able to use it for yourself?
Make sure somebody else doesn't get it?
Because when he's on that message board, when he gets back upstairs, which I guess we're about to get there.
Yeah. That was, other than him giving Suzuha the corn and me thinking that's the sweetest thing in the world, potentially that she's from the future and that's why she
and then he starts
corn.
Eating corn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In like the craziest
which
way
I've
possible.
Just
yeah.
never
Maybe
seen
that's
anyone
what time travel is for, to make sure this never exists in the future. I'm sure I'm like playing up the bit of like that's how I've never seen anybody eat corn that way. I'm sure people eat corn different ways all around the world.
Corn is good.
Yeah. But yeah, what were you gonna say about the message board?
Okay, what was I gonna say about the message board? Oh, that they were talking about, I wrote down CERN, or like SERN.
Yeah.
Maintains monopoly on the time machines. Thank you for bringing it up. There was this idea that the people that have access to the time machines aren't just average civilians, and they aren't, nor corporations. It's these individual people who have unlocked it, basically, and use it for their sole benefit.
I mean, you'd have to if you had access to a time machine, right? If everybody did, then you couldn't control, like, reliably what future you'd want because everybody else would have influence.
Right, because if you're because then you might go to this year and do this, and then someone else could undo it, or they could make about, you're just gonna have to time travel all the time. You're gonna, like, that's your, like, daily activity. Like, ooh, I woke up and now I look outside and it's raining. I thought I made it so it was gonna be sunny tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like,
I do wonder if maybe that is like the link, right? What if these are like Suzuha is a time traveler, and he is the person who could be inventing it in a different way, or the other closest person to it. So they have to come back here and try to find him because he's the only other person who knows how to make a time machine, and they're so under lock and key in the future.
Maybe he's about to figure it out, and different players are either coming in to have a part of it or be able to steal it for once he figures it out.
Yeah.
It could be that people have figured out who it's gonna be, and they have to wait until he invents it in order to steal it.
Yeah. If you time travel, can you meet yourself in the past? Theoretically, right? Interesting. It's possible to meet yourself in the past. There you go.
If you do, you simply move world lines.
That makes sense.
Okay.
Ish.
And that was John Titer that responded.
Yeah. He's doing like a Q&O. What's a world line in
Parallel
before
worlds.
parallel worlds? It's like, I don't know. I'm trying to think. So if you meet yourself in a past and you have two lines, right? Where you are currently, your past. You go back to see that past and you are visiting that line. But the second that you meet your past self, you create a new world line? What was the line that they said? You move world lines, right?
Yeah. And how do you... it doesn't sound like it's the type of thing where, oh, I'm gonna go back get in my little time machine, go back, open up the door, I'm there, and then go back in it, open up the door, and I'm back, in my same world.
Yeah.
In my same timeline. It sounds a little bit more complicated and skippy.
Yeah. It's comprised
like you don't know what line you're gonna be going back to.
Yeah. It's comprised of infinite parallel lines like rivers called world lines. For example, let's say a serial killer going to murder you today. A world in which you survived and a world in which you died. Yes. That comes easier because we've had other time travel stories in our history that we've watched. He claimed he'd come from the year 2036 to save the future when we're getting to a close-up of the hourglass.
Which is the outro.
Yeah.
Became famous on the internet, several books published, and this was all in 2000 in, I believe he says, America.
And then privy to it. And then privy to it. And then privy to it.
And then privy to it.